It's called Smut. Give me smut and nothing but a dirty novel I can't shut if it's uncut.
All right, it's 2023. I've been on 3 dates already.
In the year.
In the year. It is January 15th right now.
You have a stamina that I never had.
I used to have
when I was on the apps.
higher stamina. I do not anymore. My tolerance for bullshit has gone down too.
Yeah, well, that's good. It's like you've gotten your reps in, and now you know what you're looking for.
Yeah, one was fine. One was like very interesting, as I've told you before. Mm-hmm. He also, I think, follows me now on Spotify, so I'm not going to talk about him. And then the third one I just went on today, and he was just not for me. And from what you've said, he had a very interesting way of talking. Yes, he was at a 10 at all times. He was trying, that's who he is, and that's fine. And yeah. And that was my date for today. So we're starting out the year strong, and we're gonna come at this season with a whole interesting take, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
As in you're going on way more dates than...
I've learned new things about myself and about others, and I'm going
Mainly you don't want a man that laughs like,
No.
That's not...
Date number 2, though, did tell me I was really funny, and that was a turn on for me. And
what?
I also texted him immediately after the date. He texted me. It was a 5.5-hour date. First date.
For the first date?
First date. Mm-hmm. And immediately messaged me on Bumble his number. And then I said something like, just snark, like in my normal idiot self. And I was like, meow, meow, meow. And he's like, wow, you can still make me laugh through text. And I was like, be still my fluttering vagina.
So last night when Keenan and I were on our way to wherever we were going, we were talking about you, as we do.
Me?
Yeah, about you. And
hopefully only good things.
I was like, yeah, she had a really good date. And he was like, oh, great. I'm so happy for her. And he was like, I feel like she really wants like a funny guy. And I said, she doesn't want a funny guy. She wants a guy that thinks she's funny.
I want both, though. Because I need someone who will make me laugh.
But order of priority, though.
Oh, I'm the funniest.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm fucking funny, okay?
You're the funny one.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you know what? They need to be the straight man to me, but they also have to be very silly, I think. And if I say something batshit and they're like, then I'm like, yep, that's it. Like,
they got to be down to clown.
They got to be down to clown
to jump off,
and they have to be able to take whatever I say and be like, yep, that's Emily. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I asked this guy. I said, we went back. We were talking about stuff. He goes, we gotta get back into date mode. I go, okay. What's your favorite vegetable? What's your least favorite vegetable? And we talk. And then we like kind of talked about something else. He's like, oh, we gotta get back into this. I go, great. What's your favorite serial killer? And he's like, huh? And I go, mine's H.H. Holmes. What's your favorite? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, we're going to talk about this now. So,
speaking of serial killers, welcome to Femmes Reading Filth.
Welcome to Femmes Reading Filth.
I'm Jess.
I'm Emily, and we have a new guest.
You might hear dulcet tones.
His beautiful voice.
That's me. I'm the dulcet tones.
What's your name?
My name is Will.
Hi, Will.
Hi. Hello. I'm very excited to be here. Very excited to get to be a part of Femmes Reading Filth. I've listened to all your stuff. I'm a big fan.
Thank you.
I'm falling in love with him already.
First time talker.
No, this is Will's intro episode. We're going to get to know him a little bit.
Yeah.
And we're going to start off the season right. And bing, bang, boom.
Yeah. So, Will, tell us and the listener some stuff about you.
Great. Well, already using my correct pronouns because you know me and you know that those are them. But he, him pronouns. I am a cis het white male from Little Rock, Arkansas. Yeah.
Off to a great start.
Hey, listen. I'm excited to finally give a voice to this underrepresented demographic.
Oh Jesus. Oh God.
No, I'm
Emily,
sorry.
we need to abort.
I think we need to find a new
Well,
guest.
that's my time, everybody. It's been so nice to be here. They'll never have me back. No, I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I moved up to Chicago about 9 years ago now.
Okay.
It has been a hot minute. I went to school for comedy.
Did you go to SAIC?
No, I went to Columbia College, Chicago.
Oh, nice. Okay.
CCC.
I almost went to Columbia.
It was a fun time. You should have done it.
I didn't.
Well, and now.
So wait, what's your official degree?
I have a BA in comedy writing and performance.
Okay.
And then I also studied TV writing because I'm a slut for narrative. Let me tell you right now.
Great.
That is,
you're in the right place.
I am
You're
so
in
excited.
interesting places right
Well,
now.
and it's gonna be interesting just because like when I really love a good narrative and like narrative traditions. So like I'm gonna say the name wrong because I never hyphenate it correctly or combine
okay.
it. The Persephone and Hades Perseides.
We are
Mercedes,
the
yes.
ones that I mean I'm sure other people have said Mercedes, but like
We might have coined the term.
we might have coined the term,
Yeah.
so you can do whatever you want.
So you were into Perseides?
I kept trying to put the like Persephones or like, you know what I mean.
That's
like,
that's also
moving it.
good. That rolls off the
Persephones
tongue.
is fun.
Persephones.
I don't know. Mercedes works too. Oh, it doesn't matter. I really enjoyed that episode because I was like, oh yeah, like tell me about this mythos that comes through. Like, yeah, I want to hear about it. Give me some like ancient narrative form.
Go do that. We could have drinks and talk about that for hours.
Oh, absolutely.
I fucking love that shit.
Or a 4-hour episode.
Coming soon.
Buckle up, everybody.
Yeah.
Last podcast on the left style.
Yes. Sorry, guys. Do you? What do you do in your free time? Do you read?
Can I read? Am I literate? I've been waiting to make that
mean,
joke.
yeah.
I've been waiting to.
We don't want to assume.
No,
We don't assume
I
anything.
am literate. I do read. I used to read a lot more, but I have recently gotten back into it. I finished a book over the vacation I was just on, and immediately got back and ordered the next 3 in the series.
Nice. Damn, what book was it?
The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. It's the first of the Stormlight Archive. It's
Ooh,
like
okay.
it's like a medieval fantasy.
Okay.
That sounds fun.
It is a lot of fun. He does a really good job with his like world building.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the way that he like the like facts of his world influence all the other facts of his world in a nice way that's like it feels very like satisfying and real.
Yeah. Have you read? Does he have like is he one of those that has a shit ton of series that you?
He
read
does
before,
have another series, the Mistborn series, which is always very
Mistborn.
Mistborn.
Okay, I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a popular one. I haven't read that one yet. I read this one because my sister's boyfriend was reading it for like the 3rd time, and he was like, "Have you ever read these?" And I was like, "No." He was like, "Here you go," and he just like gave it to me. I was like, "Great."
And now you're hooked.
And now I'm hooked. It was great. It was
I
fantastic.
love that too.
So
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I've been trying to get back into reading more, just as especially it used to be like right before bed I'm gonna read a book. Like that's my last hour or 2 before bed. Like growing up was the whole thing. Me
too.
Bed and my parents always had a rule like. If you can't watch the movie until you've read the book first. If
Really?
It's like
Oh, that's a good rule.
I mean, as a kid, was I the biggest fan of it? Probably not. I was very annoyed by it.
No kid would
but it is also the reason I read The Lord of the Rings as a
Right.
child, was because I was like, I wanted to watch these sick-ass movies, and this was the only way my parents were going to let me.
We
Yeah.
both love fantasy stuff, so you're in good company here.
That's
Good,
awesome.
good.
How do you feel about like the romance genre?
You know, I was thinking about this a lot as I was prepping to come on the show because I was like, oh man, I don't read any of that. I realized when I was in like middle school, I actually did read a fair amount of like John Green books.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like, you know,
Oh, yeah.
I read
Fault in Our
I read all
Stars.
the Twilight books.
You did?
Yeah, I went to the midnight release for the 4th one, which I can't remember the name of it now.
Breaking Dawn.
Breaking
right?
Dawn, yeah, what a time.
Yeah. It's Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse,
Yeah.
Breaking
Yeah.
Dawn.
And
I also went to the midnight.
Yeah, all my
thing.
friends were like, "We're going to the midnight release." I was like, "Hell yeah, I've read all the other ones. Let's
Love
go." Yeah, so I read a lot of like those types of books and enjoyed them. I cringe about it now, but I was very much like the hopeless romantic growing up. That like
I love that.
my favorite movie was 500 Days of Summer.
Oh my
for
God.
all the
Yes.
wrong reasons. Like I was Tom.
And then you got older and you're like, oh no.
Yeah, now I look back and I go, wow, what a good movie, but not for the reasons I
Yeah,
like.
I feel like a lot of people had that reaction though. So like you're not alone.
I think that shows that it's a good movie.
It is,
Like,
because
yeah.
that is what the movie is about, right?
Right.
Is that experience. So then, like, having it good, be applicable to both sides of it it's a good movie. It's well made,
Yeah.
but so my point being, I very much liked those like types of books.
Nice.
I enjoyed them a fair amount, but other than that, I have not continued reading a lot of like
romance.
romance.
Yeah.
Just mostly. I mean, I stopped reading as much period once I got into like high school and college, just because I had assigned readings.
Yeah,
and then,
that happens to a lot of people.
Yeah,
right.
that
And-
was mine too.
And then once I read my assigned readings and I was done, I was like, oh, there's my homework out of the way, and so I stopped reading. And
Yeah.
In the past couple of years, I've picked it back up. I've gone back and read some of like my favorites from like growing up. Like I reread the like Aragon series.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that series. I love that
It's
series.
great. I went and reread the Percy Jackson series.
I
'cause
love the Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson is great.
It's coming back.
It's coming back.
coming
There,
back.
I know. I'm very excited. She's
So,
not happy about
okay,
that.
so you hit on several things that have a big fan fiction community. So did you ever dip your toe into fan fiction?
I didn't. I never really did
Wow.
the fan fiction thing.
Okay.
Which is kind of surprising because I did really like. There was a time where I thought I was like, I wanted to be an author when I grew up. I wanted
Right.
to be a writer, and I still like do want to be a writer. I mean, I went to school for writing, just a different
Right.
type of it.
Yeah.
But I never got quite into it. I was thinking about it. I was like, I think the closest I ever got. And, this might be a little embarrassing, but, we're here to share our
That's
truths.
what we're here for.
We're
Yeah.
here to talk about smut
Right.
and filth.
Yep.
And
Yes.
when I was, a child growing up and looking to please myself sexually, I I discovered the world of hentai comics. And
Okay.
in
Okay,
a way,
well, okay.
that's just that in the same way that
is.
manga is a visual novel, a graphic novel.
Yes.
This was just graphic, smutty fan fiction,
It's-
right?
yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of overlap in fans.
And that's why I feel safe saying that here, because I know that
This
there's
is a
going to be
safe space.
listeners out there
Who are like,
that
oh my God, me too.
are like, yeah,
Yep.
of course, we've all been into
Yeah.
the like Dujin world, reading those porn mangas on the internet. Now, I will say that like at the time, I really liked it because I was watching all these like shows that I like had crushes on the characters and
Right.
like sexual awakening. So then I was like, cool, now I can go masturbate to them.
Yes.
And then as you get older, you're like, these are high school characters.
But you were a
Yeah.
high school.
And I was
time, so
exactly.
that's
like,
okay.
Yeah,
exactly. But
yeah.
then as I got older, I stopped because
Okay,
it gets
that's
weird.
You got a little
and,
weird.
I'm like,
And like it's complicated
Yeah.
because it's also like, oh well, I remember this and it was okay at the time, but
yeah.
like you do move on. Like I didn't watch like actual porn until I was like 19. I only read fan fiction.
fanfic.
Yeah.
Because the rest of it felt too dirty. Like I couldn't do that.
Yeah, I
But
think
my
we have
imagination was okay.
Similar things right there.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you already say what kind of fan fiction communities you were? Did
He hasn't done any like
I haven't
he hasn't
really
read
read
any
any,
fan
like,
fiction.
fan
Sorry.
fiction.
No.
not-
Did you have a Tumblr?
I didn't ever have a Tumblr.
See, that's
I know,
probably
that-
why.
yeah,
If you had a Tumblr and you were like, "Oh, Lord of the Rings," you would
Yeah.
have
Right,
probably.
oh.
it would have fallen in there somehow.
I'm right in that kind of. I'm in a weird like middle ground where I'm that tail end millennial that like I had a Facebook like when Facebook was like really starting out, but I never had a MySpace.
Yeah.
Like I did watch Ebon's World and like Homestar Runner and stuff like that. But like I didn't use AIM.
Yeah.
Just like some
Oh my
weird
God.
like. I'm right on that kind of cusp.
How old are you,
so
Will?
I'm 27.
Okay,
I'll
so
be-
you're my
I'll-
little sister's age.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're
I'll
pretty-
be
yeah.
28 in a couple in July.
Sammy
so.
Mole, friend of the podcast.
Friend of mine.
Yeah.
Guest on
3
the
years
younger
than me.
Thanksgiving episode. Go
Oh,
listen
yeah.
to it.
That's how I relate to. That's how I think of the ages of everyone that's younger than me, though. Is I'm like, okay, now Sam is 20, Sam is 27, and I'm 30. So like, how does this person sit in relation to me and my little sister?
I think I'm always just like, everyone's my age until they say they're not. That's how I feel. I'm like,
That's how I am too. I'm really bad at looking at someone's face
Yeah.
and clocking their age.
It's why I
just
was
assume
great
I
at
assume
serving.
everyone's 30 because I'm 30.
great waitress, because I'd be like, I need your ID. They're like, really? And I go, yeah, I have no idea how old
I
you
have
are.
no- I have no
cannot tell
understanding.
how old you are.
No, not at all.
Okay, so we kind of talked about your relationship with the romance genre, like Jean Green.
Jean-
Green.
Jean
John
Green.
Green,
John.
And
Hunger
Hunk-
Games,
Honk
you know?
Green,
Honk
his
Green.
brother.
Oh yeah, Honk.
Are you on, or do you have TikTok right now?
I don't have TikTok
Okay,
right now.
so you don't know like book talk, you don't know like trending kind of books or things like that.
I really don't.
Okay.
What I know about books, I know from like my friends that are avid readers that will like post about them and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit on Bookstagram.
Okay, yeah.
They're cousins right there.
Yeah, right. So like and like the only reason I'm not on TikTok is because my phone up until a couple months ago was so old that it would not support TikTok. I upgraded my phone because I got a new job. Things are looking up for me. I'm gonna join TikTok eventually. So
well, I asked that because that's how I've gotten a lot of book recommendations in the romance and like smutty romance genre. So I just didn't know if you were like aware of anything that's like a book talk book or something like that.
I just because like I mentioned, I'm reading a few more books recently, and one that I read earlier this year that I loved. It is a romance book, so I should not have been so quick. The House on the Cerulean Sea.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
I've heard of that.
Ooh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. I think a lot of books have like a romantic plot at some point too, but like it's a thing of
not the whole...
is it a fantasy book? Is it a romance book? Is it a sci-fi book with romance? Like, shit like that.
Absolutely. So. House on the Cerulean Sea, a great little like twist on its head of the like, it's not YA, but like it's a good twist of like that like magic orphans trope.
Yeah.
I love a magic orphan.
Because it's all told from the perspective of a government worker in like the agency that like oversees magical orphans.
Oh, that's cool.
And he has to go like audit a school, and that's kind of the whole story. And I don't want to say more than that.
I love that.
I just like that you keep saying magical orphans. Yeah, it's the thing. It's magical orphans.
Yeah, magical orphans. Yeah, everybody knows.
If you have parents, you're not magical.
Right,
if you're an orphan, you're magical.
Yeah.
Well,
if you're the chosen one, your parents are dead.
Obviously.
Other than the like well-known magical orphans trope, do you have any tropes or anything that you particularly like reading, even if it's not like romance?
Oh, I mean, I love a good like forced proximity. I know you just said not particularly like romance, but I love the whole like, we have to be here, and we're and like fake dating, like that's a fun trope. I really liked Hunger Games to a point because I was like,
So were you a PETA person or were you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a PETA person.
Thank God.
In high school, one of our spirit weeks, we had a literature day where I dressed up as PETA. I wore like a apron and like baking hat and like had flour in my hair and stuff, and then baked with my grandmother her recipe from scratch. Like we spent the evening before just baking a bunch of rolls, and so I just brought 2 like giant gallon Ziplocs of
my
grandmother's recipe homemade rolls that we baked the night before and handed them out. And
that's incredible.
I would have been in love with you.
That was exactly what I was thinking. I'd be like, oh no, Will.
I would have been in love with Will.
Hey, I was a cute little geek back in the day. And now I'm a haggard old man.
Shut
27
up,
odd years.
Dumb ass. You're talking to 2
ponytail.
more mature women.
So I think, was that all your questions? That was all my questions.
One more. What do you expect from this season of Femmes Reading Filth? You know the premise of the show. Yeah. You kind of know what you're going to get into. You know that we're going to ask you for tropes, and at the end of this, we're going to get a trope for our first episode, which will be coming out later. But what do you expect to learn something? What is going on? What's in your mind?
I mean, I'm here for the ride. Is kind of how I feel about it. Like I listened to the first season because you all are my friends, and you're like, I love people to support it. And I because I'm not a fanfic person, I was really surprised by just how much fun I had like listening through the first season. It was a great ride where I was like, what's gonna happen? How dumb does it get? How invested do you get into it and that kind of stuff? So I'm kind of just like here to like fuck around and find out.
Great.
Yeah, and that said, like I mentioned, I love a good narrative. I love a good story. So like I'm here for the ones that can like really hook me with like the story. And then like, I love a sexy good time too. So I'm like, give me
I love magical orphans, love a sexy good time.
I'm a slut for narrative. I love a sexy good time.
Slut for narrative. But yeah, before we grab a trope from you, can I ask? So you said you listened to pretty much the whole last season.
I listened to it all. Absolutely.
Did you have a favorite episode or a favorite trope that we talked about or discussed?
Yeah.
I really like the Perseides just for the
history,
the mono myth of it all.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, look at how this story is retold and retold because I I'm a big old nerd for that kind of stuff. You know, I love a good narrative. I love, what was the question? I'm lost.
What was your favorite episode?
Favorite episode, thank you.
Or one of your favorites. You don't have
the
to pick
Mercedes I really liked. I liked the One Direction one because it had the fake dating.
Sports.
And the sports one.
That's still one of my favorites too,
Yeah.
only because of the outrage of the FMK game at the end from you and Sean.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
I really liked the season finale just because it was a great like, ooh, and here's just like a fun like tasting of all of it at once, like a nice little poo-poo platter of smut right at the end there. They're all really enjoyable. You know, it's interesting because what I like about it is how much joy and love y'all bring to talking about these stories.
Aww.
Like it just makes it fun to listen to any of them. Now I'm like, oh, is my favorite the one that I liked the story you talked about the most, or I don't know.
It's up to you. It
You
can
know,
mean a lot of things.
I think I've given some good ones out there.
I think you
but,
have. I think that was good.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, but I love your moments too. Because you talk about what I was excited about, like the moments because I remember and I heard this, and that was like, this is what this show is about. Was you were like, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but this is the thing, and you were talking about the hysterical fiction.
Yes!
Where, because I vividly remember being, when that came out, and seeing Sasha Grey reading 50 Shades of Grey, sitting on a vibrator, and being like, that's a new kink of mine.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So I was like, that is the beauty of this show.
I had several people reach out to me directly and go,
Wow.
"Yep, I remember that. Like it was a
That's
big
so
deal
funny.
to some very specific
Oh
people."
yeah. Oh yeah.
I love that.
It unlocked something in me, and I was like, okay, great. But you know, that's not a conversation people have a lot.
Yeah.
You know, that talking about smut and the things that turn you on, and the things that get you going, and where you found it,
And where you found
Where
it.
you found
where
it.
you found
How
it.
it
That's
happens.
honestly a huge part of it.
My version of that is like sneaking into my parents' DVD cabinet when they're
Yeah.
not home and being
Yeah.
like, ooh, what R movies have nudity?
Does this one have
Yep.
boobs in it?
Yeah,
Mr.
exactly.
Skin? Hello? Goodness.
But just, yeah, a place to have those conversations, because I was in the audience and saw myself in it and was like, yes, representation. I feel
Yay.
seen. And
I'm
so
so
like,
happy.
I'm happy to, I'm here to be myself.
Good.
Because I know that there are going to be other people out there that feel the same way. And I'm excited to see what things we uncover that are that. Because I don't know what it's going to be.
You're just the cutest.
I'm
I
so
love
happy.
you, Will.
Yeah.
Well, let's
Yeah.
get you. Okay, so we have a first episode coming up, and we did ask you ahead of time
To think of some
To think of
tropes.
some tropes. So, what would you like us to do for our first episode?
Ooh, I was thinking, and you guys kind of touched on it in one of your other episodes, but you didn't like really get into it. So I was gonna say, like, I'm a big Hunger Games fan. You know, they're in the cave at one point, and there's really this wounded soldier kind of thing going on. So what do you think about that as a trope? Can we do a little wounded soldier? Is that okay? Why is it? What is this?
So, Jess, what are we doing for our first episode?
We're doing Wounded Soldier.
We're doing
That's
Wounded
what we're doing.
Soldier. That was
We're getting into the angst right away.
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
So that
Absolutely.
was Will Nicholson. He's our guest for season 2,
We're very excited.
and we'll be back for our first official episode with Wounded
Wounded
Soldier.
Soldier.
We're just two raccoons talking about the best trash in town.
Got it in one.
Bye.
Bye.
Femmes Reading Filth is hosted, produced, and edited by Emily Barusian and Jessica Mall. Intro music by Tom Lehrer. Outro music by David Reddick. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Femmes Reading Filth. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.